I had done a study comparing the rules of the Essenes with the, mostly with the rule of Benedict, and came up with some shocking similarities. So the Essenes, we've already talked about who the Essenes were. So these would have been Jews, probably starting about 165 BC-ish, going up until
the Roman.
Until the Romans destroyed Qumran, 66 AD. That's what I was trying to remember. And then Christian monasticism, most of them come from the rule of Benedict. So here's a comparison. So the Essenes, according to the Manual of Discipline, were headed by a superintendent or an examiner who was both a teacher and a chief financial officer. According to the rule of Benedict, headed by an abbot or prior who had absolute authority. He's believed to hold the place of Christ in the monastery. Judicial decisions were made by assembled members of the group, according to the Manual of Discipline. According to Benedict's rule, as often as anything important is to be done in a monastery, the abbot shall call the whole community together and himself explain what the business is. And after hearing the advice of the brothers, let him ponder it and follow what he judges the wiser course. So there's not an exact match here because it wasn't a democracy, but there was a forum for the monks to give their opinion to the abbot, and then the abbot would take that under advisement when making his decision. Josephus, nor is there anyone to be found among them who hath more than another, for it is a law among them that those who come to them must let what they have be common to the whole order. Manual of Discipline says, if the lot determines that he is to be admitted to the community, his wealth and wages shall be put at the disposal of the man who has supervision over the wages of the master. So Essenes had no private property. According to Benedict, above all this evil practice, private property must be uprooted and removed from the monastery. So you're starting to see the parallels, which are like astonishing. They had a 2-year novitiate for entry into the Essenes from the Manual of Discipline. When he has completed a year within the community, the master shall be questioned about his affairs. The new member shall not touch the sacred drink of the masters until he has completed a 2nd year among the community of men. So they had a 2-year novitiate, probation period. You had a performance evaluation after the 1st year. Rule of Benedict, novitiate periods of varying lengths were required. Benedictines had 12 months. If after due reflection he promises to observe everything and to obey every command given him, let him be received into the community. Strong parallel there. Tended to live in remote areas or small villages. Here we're taking what Josephus said along with what the Manual of Discipline says. So the Essenes, Qumran, even today, is a very remote area. And this wasn't true with all monastic orders, but many of them tended to live in remote areas or in small villages, especially the Cistercians and the Carthusians. But some monasteries were located in towns during the Middle Ages and were very much part of the local economy. So that one's is only true. Prayer was an important element of their daily worship. I already mentioned this one day, divided into hours or office. Those that violated Mosaic law and the community rule willfully were excommunicated. According to the Manual of Discipline, any man of them who transgresses a word of the law of Moses overtly or with deceit shall be dismissed from the council of the community and shall not come back again. And we've already looked at the order of Benedict. You could be rebuked in front of the community, excluded from communion, shunning, strokes of the rod, and then finally banishment. They all dwell together in companies. The house is open to all those of the same notions who come to them from other quarters. The monks are to sleep in separate beds, if possible, or to sleep in one place. A lamp must be kept burning in the room until morning. This was both for practical reasons, so you could find your way to the rear dorter, as it was referred to, but also was supposed to represent the Holy Spirit. They shall eat in common and pray in common and deliberate in common. Manual discipline, communal meals, communal observation of the hours, chapter house. Now, these wouldn't have been true of the Carthusians in the Middle Ages, but almost all the other monastic orders it was. Josephus, after sunrise, every one of them are sent away by their curators to exercise some of those arts wherein they are skilled, in which they labor with great diligence until the 5th hour. So the Essenes practiced labor along with the prayer. According to Benedict, idleness is the enemy of the soul, therefore the brothers should have specified periods for manual labor as well as for prayerful reading. Significant commonality. This is clever and it's cool. Is it true? So that's a reasonable thing to discuss. So would Benedict have had access to any of these sources? In other words, could the Jewish Essenes of 500 years, 600 years before Benedict, could they actually have had any impact on Benedict?
Possibly.
Possibly. The manual discipline, which was dug up at Qumran in 1947, probably wasn't available to Benedict, although when we did the course on the Dead Sea Scrolls, there were some weird things before 800 AD. From time to time, there would be a report that somebody had found some scrolls near Jericho, or somebody had found some scrolls near the Dead Sea. So it's at least vaguely possible that Benedict could have had the manual discipline, but less likely. But what Benedict would have had access to is Philo of Alexandria, Pliny the Elder, and the books of Josephus. He would have had access to all of those. And you'll note that when I was doing the Essene, I didn't solely use the manual discipline, even though it's my favorite book from the era. I also quoted from Josephus, I also quoted from Philo, and you could put Pliny the